You'll notice that we're not seeing teacher's pet on this database. That's not because he's fallen so far into his teacher's black books that he's been removed altogether from the system. No, rather his information is stored on the user table. That's because his privileges are global and the reader was only granted privileges on a specific database. We can make things even more precise and go right down to the level of tables. If we show columns from the tables, we'll see once again this has become broken up because of two of the columns being set column types with a large number of different possible values. But essentially the privileges can be granted to users on a table by table basis, or even a column by column basis within columns within a table. If we take a look at columns underscore priv, we'll see that the information as regards tables and columns is stored in there. So this is what happens when we use the grant and revoke commands. Information is placed into one or more of the tables, columns, DB, host, tables and user, depending on what kind of privileges we're granting. If we're granting global privileges, it'll go to the users table. If we're granting database specific privileges, that shall go in the DB table. For table specific privileges, tables, columns, columns underscore priv and so on. Now, since all this data is stored within MySQL tables in a MySQL database, we're able to go in, if the user that we've entered in has privileges to set and update and so on from the MySQL database, which as root we do, we can go in and manually change all this kind of data. We can manually remove, for instance, the teacher's pet or whoever we wanted from the user table. Let's take a look at the way we do that. As you can see, teacher's pet is second from the bottom there, and we could simply say delete from users where user equals teacher's pet. Little error there, delete from user, I should say, the user table, and now the teacher's pet user essentially no longer exists. Their global privileges have been removed and all information about them has been removed as far as MySQL is concerned. However, in order for the MySQL server to take notice of this change that we've made, we need to flush privileges, is what it's called. This essentially makes MySQL look back at the tables within the MySQL database and take a look to see if anything's changed as far as the privileges are concerned, and then make those changes go into effect. This is done automatically if we use the grant or revoke statements, but if we simply go in and make manual changes, we have to remember to flush the privileges before these changes come into play. So as we can see, by using the grant and revoke commands, or by going in and making the changes manually, we have a high degree of precise control over the privileges for all the users on the MySQL system. In our next movie, we're going to look at encryption.